What does love look like? When a child is struggling with identity, and someone has told her, you're not beautiful, and someone has told him, you're not worth it, love stops and turns around, right, and reminds that child, you are a child of God. You are so beautiful. You are so worth it. Or when a husband or wife comes home from work and they've just fought an uphill battle the entire day. Life has just drained them. Love stops and turns around and says, babe, I got it from here. Your day's over, all right? I'll take it from here. What does love look like? When a friend doesn't know what the next step is, love stops and turns around and says, I'll take the next step with you. When a sister or brother doesn't know how to fight the fight any longer, love stops and turns around and puts on the boxing gloves and says, we're gonna fight together. What does love look like? When the underdog doesn't have a voice, love stops and turns around and says, I'll speak for you. When the church in the middle of the city is slowly fading away, love stops and turns around and says, we're not going to let this happen to you. What does love look like? When an entire group of people don't have equal access to the privileges that everyone else in the community has, love stops and turns around and says, we're going to make a change today. When people don't have affordable housing or they can't access jobs that supports their family, love stops and turns around and says, let's figure this out together. When a community on the other side of the world does not have access to clean drinking water, love stops and turns around and says, I don't care how far we have to drill, we're gonna drill until you have water to drink. In that same community, when the children don't have a school to go to, love stops and turns around and says, we're not just gonna build you a school, we're gonna equip teachers to teach your children. What does love look like? When an entire continent is dying from a disease that's curable, love stops and turns around and says, we're gonna help stop this disease from killing your people. What does love look like?